exercise demonstration video for the Turkish Get Up. I'm going to show you the many steps that make up this relatively complicated movement, but I'll also show you the way that you can attack this one in order to develop your proficiency. There's a lot going on in the Turkish Get Up, and it does a lot for our body, but just as effective as it is for positive change, it can also affect us negatively if we're not doing our technique properly. Let me give you a little bit of information about the Turkish Get Up, where it gets its name, and a little demonstration, and then I'll show you the detailed steps. Now, the Turkish Get Up is going to involve you laying down flat on your back with a load, like a dumbbell, and then standing all the way up, holding the weight over your head, and coming all the way back down. Let me give you a quick demonstration, and then we'll move on. Turkish Get Up starts with the weight in one arm. We roll ourselves up on the side, we come to our elbow, and then our hand. From here, lift your hips, bring your leg through into a lunge position, and now I'm going to go all the way up to standing. When you're standing up at the top, you keep your abs braced, nice and controlled, and now you do the entire thing on the way back down. Down to your hand, sitting back down to your butt, and lowering yourself with control to your elbow, to your shoulder, and then flat on your back. Now, the Turkish Get Up is certainly a long movement, and there's a lot going on. But the best way to develop this movement is to take small steps progressively until you're doing the entire thing. The first step on the Turkish Get Up, I'll demonstrate it with weight, but you can practice it unloaded. When you start the Turkish Get Up, you should start flat on your back with your feet flat on the floor. And now I'm going to roll to my left, so I'm going to put my left leg out straight. This means that my load, the dumbbell, and my bent leg are on the same side of my body. Putting that weight straight above your shoulder means your shoulder muscles have to stabilize, and so they're going to be working hard here as well. But it's important that the weight always stays directly above your shoulder. We can't tolerate it out above or down below. It's not sustainable to hold it right there. When you do your Turkish Get Up, the first movement to focus on is to take this foot that's flat on the floor, put it out to the side of your body, so a little wider out to the side, and use that to power a roll over to the side. I'm going to push my weight straight up to the ceiling at the same time I push down with my foot, and that rolls me onto my side. And this is an important detail here. Notice how you can see the side of my body, and now you can see the front of my body. That's the roll we want to achieve. It's not going to be just the shoulder. It's not going to be just the hips. It has to be the hips and shoulders both at the same time. And that's going to give me the next step, the position we need for the next step. So with my hand out here to the side, I'm going to roll my body onto the shoulder and hip. And now I'm going to do a sit-up, and I'm going to come up to my elbow. So I'm just going to follow the line of my arm right here up onto the elbow. And when you do this one, we're still pushing the weight straight up, so it's directly above the shoulder. From here, we continue that sit-up when we come up to the hand. It's important in this position that our hand's not way far behind us, because this can overload the shoulder. Instead, we want it to be more along the side of our body. If you need to, you can reestablish your position here, adjust your feet, get really settled, because we do want to have structural integrity to hold that weight straight up to the ceiling. From here, we lift the hips. So I'm pushing down with my hand and with my foot in order to get some space for my leg to come through and for me to come up to that lunge position. In the lunge, my knee is right below my body. This shin is vertical, and we're making sure that we're already set up for that nice tall standing position. On the way back down, to the side with the hand, not reaching behind, and then sitting all the way through, coming down to the elbow, coming down to the shoulder and hip, and then finally rolling flat onto the back. And now we're ready to bring this weight down. Turkish Get Up, I know there's a lot to it, but the benefits here, first of all, we have to keep that support for the shoulder. We have the sideways rotation, so we can create that roll. We're working the abs as we come up, and I'll bet you that when you do this, you'll feel the challenge for the hip mobility, the shoulder stability that's needed in order to hold that weight and to hold yourself. Of course, when we come up to the top, we have that lunge, and we have to face the challenge of holding the weight directly above our shoulders. When you do the Turkish Get Up, I like people to develop this starting from the very beginning. So you might even do this with no load. You might have a medicine ball on your shoulder, or you might hold the dumbbell right there. But when you do your Turkish Get Up, put the foot out to the side, roll yourself to the side, focus on coming up to that elbow, keeping this foot flat on the ground or flat to the ground, as you come up to the shoulder. Nice, straight, tall posture. And now, when we lift our hips up, this is an important detail. I'll just rotate for you. We're going to make sure that our elevation comes from the hand and the foot, both pushing down. If you have too much lateral spread, too much side to side here, it's going to be hard for you to get enough height to bring your leg through. So we do want to be fairly compact so that we can lift and bring our leg through into that lunge. Now here's a common mistake, especially for the ladies. As you bring your leg through, you're going to want to do this with your knees far apart and the whole length of your shin close to the floor. This will allow you to bring your leg through in that lunge position. But what I see as a common mistake is people will try to bring their leg through this way, keeping their shin mostly vertical and their knees close together. We want to drop that out to the side, bring the leg through like this. Now we'll have a much easier time getting up into that lunge position. Make sure you have good integrity. Stand up right here. Don't put your hand into your ceiling fan. Watch out. Watch out for your overhead clearance before you do Turkish get-ups. Now, for the Turkish get-up with some other implements, and to make sure that this one is really focused on stability, go slow and maintain the control at all times. So, once again, roll up to the elbow. That's a powerful sit-up motion. To the hand. Square up your position a little bit if you need to. Elevate the hips, drop the knee out to the side in order to bring the leg through. Establish a really solid lunge, knees underneath you, abs braced before you stand up to the top. And then on the same thing on the way down. To the side, drop that leg, sweep it through, and sit down. All the way flat onto your back, and then 2-on-1 for that safety and control. Now I know the Turkish Get Up is a complicated movement and you probably will get some strange looks if you do this one in a normal gym, but it's so beneficial because this is the way that our body is built to be able to stand up from the floor while still protecting ourselves. So you'll see this also in martial arts and military training. They have technique that allows them to come up to their elbow, up to their hand, and then bring their leg through so they can return to a standing position while still keeping their hands involved for self-defense. This is a great way. We do it with a load, holding that weight straight up for the shoulder alignment, but this is a great way for you to be able to protect yourself and still achieve a standing position. Keep that in mind, and as you do the Turkish Get Up, make sure that you always favor technique and safety over absolute physical challenge. This is not the kind of movement where you should be trying to get a good burn or really push the limits of fatigue. We want to make sure that we're safe and controlled when we do this movement. All right, hope it's helpful. See you next time.